Who jumps out to you the most?
Let's start. I'm going to start with the guy I think makes the most sense for this job, but I don't think A&M's going to hire him, is Jeff Traylor.
Yeah, I knew that's what you were going to say.
I think Jeff Traylor makes a ton of sense because for one thing, Jimbo has done a really good job of recruiting nationally. And I think he's done a good job of getting some of the top guys in the state. But one thing that he did early in his tenure was that he fractured relationships a little bit with the high school coaches early on. Yeah. He worked to kind of.
You and I, by the way, you and I did a Texas Recruiting Confidential, I think 2 years ago, and where we just surveyed like 20 Texas high school coaches for what they thought. Everybody loves Jeff Traylor in the state. He's a former Texas high school coach, but the Texas A&M reaction was a bit mixed because there's some things he did. So explain that.
Yeah, so I think when Jimbo first got here, one of the things he did early on was he met with a 7-on-7 coach or something early on and took a picture of him on social media. And it really was not a big deal, to be honest with you. But Texas high school coaches here are very territorial, and they took that as an affront. It's like, oh, the first day on the job, you're going to go see that guy. And that same day, by the way, Jimbo went and saw Gary Joseph, who's a state championship winning coach at Katy High School, very well known, very well respected, had a power position in the top of the Texas High School Coach Association for a while. So he went and saw them both on the same day. And I think that the Texas high school coaches thought, well, you're putting that 7-on-7 coach on the same plane with the high school coach, state championship high school winning coach. And so there was a little bit of a consternation about that. And
so political. There's a way of like a politics thing to happen.
It is. It absolutely is. And there's also a level of recruiting here where everything goes to the high school coach. That's kind of how it goes. And it's not truly how it goes anymore, but it's still how the high school coaches would like it to go. And Jimbo kind of just does whatever he needs to do to get the players, which, to his credit, it worked in a big way. But I think some of those relationships, and it depends on who you talk to. I think we talked to some high school coaches who really spoke highly of Jimbo, and you talk to some high school coaches who are like, yeah, I don't trust that guy. And I think Jeff Traylor would help repair some of that because Jeff is a former Texas high school coach, and he's beloved by all those in the state, like you said. But also, you look at what he's done at UTSA. They have a really good recruiting operation. They don't have a ton of resources. They're punching above their weight class in the American right now. They're still undefeated, even with all the injuries they've had and struggles they've had. And I think you give him the resources that A&M has, and I think he would absolutely kill it. Now, I don't think Texas A&M will go that way because I think the idea of hiring the coach from UTSA is probably more than Texas A&M leadership can get its head around when you're paying $77 million to tell Jimbo Fisher bye. So I don't think they're going to go that route. But I think he'll be in the mix. And if they were to hire him, I think he'd make a ton of sense.
Yep. He is beloved in the state. He knows everybody. He knows how to do all the political machinations and everything like that. You get that guy in front of the Texas A&M donors, like, it's done. Yeah. But can you convince people, hey, we're going to spend $75 million, really more like 80, 90 to get rid of all the coaches to hire the coach at UTSA? It's a tough sell.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Now I'll give you two other names that you
not that it's right, but I'm thinking it's a sell. Yeah.
Two other names is Mike Elko. I think absolutely stands out here because he's done a great job at Duke so far in his 2 years there. Again, fewer resources, much tougher situation to recruit than Texas A&M.
He's 15 and he took over a 3-win team. He's 15 and 7. He went 9 and 3 last year. Beat Clemson to start this year, and he coached at A&M for 2018 to 2021 defense coordinator. Recruit a lot of those really good players that they've got on their team or that they had on their team. He knows the place. Now the question I would have is, do you think you can fire Jimbo Fisher to hire one of his assistant coaches?
I mean, he was there for the 4 best years of the Jimbo Fisher era. That everything has kind of gone downhill since he's been gone. That's not to say that his departure is the reason for that. There's way more factors that go into the decline here the last 2 years than Mike Elko's departure, but it certainly didn't help. And they had one of the best defenses in the country when he was here. And shoot, they have one of the best defenses in the country now. They had a really rough year last year with DJ Durkin in his first year, but Elko knows the place, knows how to recruit the place, and understands the culture. And I think he would be well received by the fans because people generally do like Mike Elko. People who spend time around him He's a personable guy. He's a really good football coach. And so I think he would make a ton of sense. And the other name that stands out to me on this list is Dan Lanning at Oregon.
Yep.
I think Dan brings the kind of juice. And when you talk about young, energetic guy that's in the antithesis of what Jimbo Fisher is at this point, Dan, you think about that speech that he gave before the Colorado game. Like, I think A&M fans would run through a wall for Dan Lanning. And the question is, does he want to get back to the SEC? What does he think of Oregon going to the Big Ten? If this is a chance to make a move, Dan Lanning, in my opinion, is a home run hire. Oh, and by the way, probably bring, I would assume, his director of player personnel, Marshall Malakal, bring him right back to Texas A&M. And Marshall was part of putting that number one recruiting class together when they signed it in 2022. So I think you could, and again, he's been at Georgia. Lanning understands the lay of the land in the SEC, and what you have to do.
Defensive coordinator there.
And I think an understanding of what it takes to win and recruit at a high level in the SEC is absolutely paramount in this job, especially when you consider who's coming. Texas and Oklahoma, who are both programs that also recruit at a high level.